You're tuned in to Rebooting Liberty.
Have you ever wanted to have your own radio show? Rebooting Liberty Radio Network currently has openings for live programs. For a very small fee, we will create a show intro, bumper music, and provide technical production for your hour-long show. Email producer@rebootingliberty.com for details. You can find us at live.rebootingliberty.com.
Welcome to Commonsense Coalition Talk Radio, where you'll find straight talk from people with good old common sense.
I trust your opinion.
And now, for your host, she's putting sense back into nonsense.
Absolute insanity.
Well, you can hear me on the radio. You want to turn me on, turn on your stereo. You can sing along while they're playing our song. How you done me wrong, baby, crank it up.
And now, your host, Beth Ann.
And I welcome you today to CSC Talk Radio. It's my honor, my privilege, and my pleasure to be here with you today. It is Free for All Friday. Your calls are welcome. We'll talk about almost anything you want to talk about at 877-895-5410. I don't know, all these things that are coming in. They're kind of bothering me a little bit. And then I hope they're bothering you a little bit. They need to be bothering us a lot. But I wanted to talk about the value of life here in America. We're talking about so many things. Last few weeks, we've seen an awful lot going on, and we're talking about the safety of our nation and bringing in the refugees, which I personally believe to be a Trojan horse. Will all of them be bad guys? No, but how many will be? Is there not another way to help those in need? We're not even discussing another way, and I believe there is other ways if we'd sit down and quit arguing and discuss it. And as we talk about the unrest and the anger that's across this nation due to racial prejudices and crime, and we see the rioting and the protesting going on in our campuses, is there not another way to calm the souls of man? As we talk about the vicious attacks by ISIS, there seems to be only one way, and that's to fight back. Well, I want to take a moment to look at another humanitarian issue. The killing of our babies here in the United States of America, where everyone deserves a chance, but the truly innocent, the unborn. Planned Parenthood is an atrocity. Not only are they guilty of many crimes, even with abortion being legalized, they are abusing taxpayer dollars while they discard life. Defund is the only answer to the Planned Parenthood saga. It more than likely will not stop abortions altogether, but it will slow them down. And you and I will not be paying for something we hold to be unethical and unmoral. There are reports daily about some Planned Parenthood clinic somewhere. And now Planned Parenthood they're waging a campaign to fight, as the article says, the Republicans. $20 million worth of legal battle they are planning. We, the people, the taxpayers, fund Planned Parenthood by $47 million, and they're going to fight being defunded by $20 million. The war on women that is always on the tongues of the Democrat and politicians is a hoax. However, the war against babies, family, and Christianity is very real. They can't say radical Islam, or ISIS, but they can certainly defend the murdering of American babies. And Hillary Clinton even said to the Republican parties during their first debate, shame on you for wanting to do that. They claim now, too, that the Republicans are afraid of children and caring and lack love and caring attitude because many are debating the refugee invasion as a threat to America. It wasn't all that long ago, was it? Stop and remember and think. When Bill Clinton and Janet Reno forcibly removed a young immigrant whose mother was killed as they were coming over here. She was trying to get asylum because they were under great danger, and part of that danger was coming from his father, who worked for the Cuban government. Elian Gonzalez, I think he was 6 or 7 years old, and they forcibly came in with guns and removed him against his dying mother, his dead mother's wishes to be America and safe, and they shipped him back to Cuba. Let's talk about humanitarian. Let's talk about how Republicans or conservatives, any of us who are concerned about the refugees, are afraid of children after what Bill Clinton and Janet Reno did to little Elian. When will America, when will you and I really wake up and see that the politicians are playing politics at every turn? Planned Parenthood suing to maintain their $47 million funding. They're going to spend $20 million to do that. Do you see something wrong with that picture? This is Free for All Friday, and your calls are welcome at 877-895-5410. We have unrest on our campuses. We have people afraid. There's been another attack in Mali. It's a little different, but it's still an Islamic radical attack. 2 people are dead. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But do you remember Elian? You know, it was mixed emotions with that. But his mother died getting him here. And then there was a war to get him out. There were those trying to protect him because he was innocent. And there were those who were willing to kick him out. Janet Reno and Bill Clinton. Forcibly. Do you remember that saga? How that went on? And do you remember the pictures where they came in with their fatigues and their guns, and he was clinging to the man that's been caring for him as they were kind of hiding in a closet, scared to death of what was next? Do you remember that? Do you remember the attacks that we've had in this nation? Fort Hood, President Obama called it workplace violence. That's not what it was. It was an attack. It was a radical Islamic attack. But every time somebody else comes out with a gun, he wants gun control. Take your guns away. And of course, you and I both know that it won't be the bad guys' guns that get taken away. They never say how they're going to do that. It's yours and mine. And now they have this bill out, and I haven't got the number in front of me, where they're going to charge you $100 tax for every gun purchase. And then that will be used for research and for mental illness. It's all a hoax to take your guns, to take control of you. We had C.J. Hadley on yesterday, and if that doesn't wake you up, I don't know what will. I think most of you are awake. We're going into a break. Your calls are welcome. It is Free for All Friday. We'll talk about almost anything you want to talk about at 877-895-5410, and we will be right back.
Did you know that whether you're making a phone call, texting a friend, or checking email, you can be making a difference for CSC Talk Radio? That's right. When you sign up for wireless service from our friends at Affinity 4, not only do you receive affordable rate plans with nationwide coverage on one of America's largest wireless networks, you'll also be supporting CSC Talk Radio through Affinity 4's Give Back program. Affinity 4 Wireless offers a variety of phones from leading manufacturers, and you can choose from individual and shared plans to meet your needs. And you can keep your same phone number. Call 1-800-311-2021 today and let the Affinity 4 customer service team help you select the best plan and phone for your needs. And remember, when you sign up for any of Affinity 4's products and services, a portion of the proceeds will be donated back to CSC Talk Radio. Don't wait. Call today, 1-800-311-2021, and ask about their current wireless promotions, including a free month of service and free phone offers. That's 1-800-311-2021.
Hear ye, hear ye. The Pen is here. News hot off the presses. The Pen is the bi-monthly newsletter for CSC Talk Radio. Beth Ann and friends have packed it with information you won't read in the paper from the corner newsstand. News, opinions, and insights, all packed into this economical read. Just $24.95 will buy you 6 issues yearly. Common sense is what we speak, and it's also what we write. The Pen is a compilation of many writers we know you're going to enjoy. The news these days isn't easy to digest, but it is necessary to keep informed, and that is what we at CSC Talk Radio strive to do, serving listeners in every way. Order your subscription today. Send $24.95 to CSC Talk Radio, P.O. Box 73, California, Missouri, 65018. Keep informed. Send $24.95 to P.O. Box 73, California, Missouri, 65018, and request your subscription to the Pen today.
You stroll out to the barn to check on those calves, kids, or lambs, and at first glance, you know something is not right. A weak kid, a calf who cannot nurse, or a ewe who does not have enough colostrum for her newborn lambs. Your role switches from caretaker to rescuer. In these situations, minutes count. Having the right products on hand is vitally important. Visit the animal care category at HambyDairySupply.com to stock up on your medical needs. At Hamby Dairy Supply, they understand because their family has been raising livestock since 1954. With their years of experience, they can help you with your needs, including planning for those livestock emergencies. Visit HambyDairySupply.com for colostrum, Energy Plus energy supplements, Formula 911, and Arrest Drench products. Stock up today and be prepared. HAMBY DairySupply.com or give them a call at 1-800-306-8937. We have returned. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann. And I have with me right now for a moment, I have Senator Kurt Schaefer on the line from Missouri. Senator, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on today.
Oh, I'm glad you're here. I was afraid you weren't going to make it. I had a little miscommunication with the lady that was calling your office. I wanted to hear about what had happened in your office this week. We've been fighting so many things, and you had a threat in the office this week, didn't you?
We did. On the Senate voicemail, we got a message, which I really think is caused, because of my position on Planned Parenthood and being involved in the issue with the university at the University of Missouri's granting of privileges to the doctor, which allowed an abortion license to be issued to a facility in Colombia to resume abortions, and then subsequently the university making the decision to pull the privileges for the doctor, which is going to cause them to lose their license to perform abortions in Colombia on December 1st. It's really prompted this wave of national media really at the end of last week. And I was just absolutely attacked in a lot of national publications, MSNBC, Al Jazeera, the Vox out of D.C., Wonket, which is a world publication online. And I think that precipitated a lot of activity from people who support Planned Parenthood and who are generally anti-Christian. I did receive basically a death threat. It was a pretty clear death threat on my Senate voicemail from somebody who was vehemently anti-Christian and really wants to cause me harm because of my Christian beliefs.
Isn't that amazing? Now, I know you don't have the opportunity and you're way busy and don't listen to CSC Talk Radio, but I just got through, and I don't know if you heard my intro.
But sure I do. Actually, on KFAL.
Okay, wonderful. I figured you were too busy in the mornings to listen. But, I just got through talking about Planned Parenthood. And did you realize, of course, I know you know that they get 47% of their funding from taxpayer dollars.
Yes.
Well, they're turning around and they are prepared to use $20 million in the war against the Republicans to fight that.
Yeah,
There's something wrong with that picture, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. And, the issue there is, because I'm chairman of the Senate Appropriations Committee here in the state of Missouri and responsible for the Senate's portion of the state budget. And so unlike the federal government, where Planned Parenthood actually gets direct funding from the federal government, Planned Parenthood doesn't get any direct funding from the state of Missouri. But what they do get is they are a Medicaid provider. And under federal law, what the feds tell us is states do not have the ability to pick and choose federally approved Medicaid providers. So, for example, when they provide services to women which are Medicaid reimbursable, of every dollar that gets spent on that, 40 cents comes from the state's general revenue, and 60 cents on that dollar is federal match money. And so while we don't give them at the state level any money directly, there certainly is an issue that they are a Medicaid provider, and the state is being told by the feds we don't have discretion over that. But it's very troubling for exactly what you point out, which is that's money that's just taken and mixed in and spent on political purposes,
yes,
which in the state of Missouri is the political purpose of attacking Republicans who don't think that Planned Parenthood should get public dollars.
Well, and of course, I'm a female, but I believe that this war against women that keeps falling off the lips of the Democrat, particularly the candidates right now running for president. But they're constantly bringing this up. And I don't believe there is a war on women, but I do believe there is a war against morals and family and Christianity. And unfortunately, I believe it's coming out of the Democrat Party.
Well, that's absolutely true. And the thing that's just so ridiculous about that is, on the Planned Parenthood issue, and I've had tremendous support from people in the community, from 40 Days for Life and a lot of other groups, is that, those are almost entirely women who do all that work and run those groups and are fighting every day to protect life. And to somehow say, well, those women don't count, only women on the Democrat side, so therefore we can say there's a war on women, it's just absolutely absurd.
Well, Planned Parenthood, of course, since the videos, I'm sure these things were out there before. We just weren't paying attention, maybe, as we should have been. But since the video, there's just been one after the other. And I've got one in my hand now that's from the Daily Signal, which is part of the Heritage Foundation, where Planned Parenthood has overbilled taxpayers 1 in 7 times. And this is coming out of Oklahoma. And if it's happening in Oklahoma, it's happening in other states across this nation. And then there's another one here I've got, which is just an atrocity. And that's another one that's coming from, and it's actually from a pro-life organization that is really on top of it. They stay on top of the news. And this is where Planned Parenthood out of Philadelphia clinics, they've been caught storing aborted babies in bags in a janitor's closet.
Yeah,
now, it is disgusting. It's an atrocity. And this, here we talk about the refugees and they point at the Republicans or the conservatives or those of us who are just a little bit concerned about the Trojan horse that might be coming in. They talk about not caring and not having that warm spot in our heart for those who are in need, that need help. And yet they think nothing of what they do to these babies.
Right, and those things are totally inconsistent. And the issue of protecting innocent life, as opposed to, as you mentioned, with Syrian refugees, which is a reasoned analysis of a real threat of terrorists hiding and taking advantage, frankly, of the compassion of people who take in refugees in their states and taking advantage of that and hiding terrorists among those groups is a real possibility, as we've seen in other countries, as we've seen as recently as yesterday with Syrians with false passports being stopped at the Texas border, as well as the issue in Honduras yesterday with some being stopped getting on a plane to the United States. It's a real threat. And to somehow equate that with the issue of how these groups support abortion, it absolutely makes no sense. I will tell you on the Syrian issue, I actually sent a letter to in the state of Missouri to the director of the Department of Public Safety as well as the director of Social Services on Monday, and I asked questions about how do we know the numbers that are coming in, how much information is the state of Missouri getting on where they're going, on what the vetting process is. I got a response back from those two agencies yesterday, and the Department of Public Safety basically told me in a very short letter they have no idea of any of this and have no role in the process at all. And then the letter from Social Services said other than refugees being 100% Medicaid eligible, they don't know anything either. So I know we are in the Missouri General Assembly. We're looking at potentially holding a hearing to get more information so we can assure Missourians, and I know other states are doing this as well, to assure our citizens that there is at least some process in place, which so far the federal government has not been able to articulate at all.
And, next Friday I'm going to have, and I've had him on several times, Michael Cutler, who's a retired special agent with INS.
Sure.
And you haven't heard them interview too many INS. They've been talking about the FBI, and they've been talking about other, law enforcement officials and across the nation and how they're going to handle this. Well, they don't have the capacity to handle it. But now let me ask a question, because I just need to know. I know when we brought refugees over, when we exited Vietnam, the different groups actually sponsored certain families and brought them in. Say, when they brought the Hmong people in from Vietnam, a lot of the Lutheran churches sponsored these families and took care of them. They took them in, they put them up in apartments or whatever, and fed them and helped them get jobs, helped them learn English and those kind of things. Do they have any way that they're going to do this with all these? When we're talking, they've said 10,000, they've said 65, they've said 100,000. I mean, it just goes up and up and up. How are we going to maintain and who's going to sponsor and take care of these people?
Well, the issue is, and it relates to those letters that I got yesterday in response to my questions to the Missouri Department of Public Safety as well as Social Services. It's the federal government generally working in conjunction with about 9 relief agencies, charitable agencies, that bring them in, yet there's really no coordination with any of the states other than from the aspect of welfare benefits, from social services benefits once they get here. But there are also issues, of notification of the public school system, because if there's a large influx of non-English speaking students, that's something that needs to be coordinated. And it's just really not done. And essentially the states just kind of have to deal with it once the federal government works through some of these agencies and just places these refugees in their state. But I think you raise a really good point. And whether it's, Cambodian refugees or Vietnamese refugees or some of the other refugees that we've seen in the past when you've got world conflict somewhere else and they're coming into the United States, the difference is those groups were displaced by some activity in some other part of the world, but didn't harbor this ideology, which is anti-Western culture. And that's the thing that really, I think, that upsets a lot of Missourians, is there's an ideology that goes along with this, and as we saw in Paris and as we've seen in other parts of the world, where it's a very anti-Western culture, yet they're being relocated into Western culture.
Senator, we're going into a break. Can you hang on through another segment with me? I'd like to talk to you about that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann. Right now we're visiting with Senator Kurt Schaefer from Missouri, and we're talking about the immigration, and I want to talk about some other things. But the refugees coming in, what kind of harm is that going to be? Do we have a plan for that? We're going into a break. Your calls are welcome at 877-895-5410, and we will be right back. Alexis de Tocqueville once stated, "America is great because she is good. If America ceases to be good, America will cease to be great." To know where we are going, we must remember from whence we came. Looking back in our American history, we can see the hand of God. He wrought many miracles in our nation and brought us through much to be a nation under Him, a nation under God. We've forgotten from whence we came. America has lost her greatness. America ceases to be good because we've forgotten our God, who is all that is good. Sue and Bill Federer have compiled 32 truths, which in our history show the hand of God, His answered prayers, His miracles, and His mercy on our nation. For only $22, Miracles in American History will encourage and uplift you. Order Miracles in American History. Send $22 to CSC Talk Radio, Post Office Box 73, California, Missouri 65018, or order online at csctalkradio.com.
Are you a David? There are wolves, sheep, and sheepdog, and then there are shepherds. Just as young King David faced the impossible battle with the feared giant Goliath, we face giants today as well. Do we run or do we stand our ground? Our federal government is the epitome of corruption. Abuse of power and deceit have enslaved we the people. Property rights are non-existent. Gun owners are treated as terrorists. Citizens are plundered and reaped of rights and liberties. Is there a solution? Yes, you are the solution. You, the patriotic, the local peace officer, you, the elected official, the county sheriff. You must stand with faith, humility, and the strength of a warrior, as young David did. You are the solution. Order the book, Are You a David by Sheriff Mack. Go to csctalkradio.com or send $15 to P.O. Box 73, California, Missouri 65018. Be a shepherd in your community. csctalkradio.com.
Going once, going twice, sold to the highest bidder. Has the U.S. been sold out by those we've trusted to guard, protect, and help this nation prosper? Selling U.S. Out is a nonpartisan examination of the trade and economic policies that brought about the current economic crisis. It is receiving great reviews from Americans across the social and political spectrum. Beth is proud to call J.R. Martin a friend, and she's thrilled he's provided his book for you. CSC Talk Radio listeners, we speak about communism, socialism, but what about corporatism greed? What did free trade accomplish? NAFTA? GATT? CAFTA? Why is American productivity and our own industries failing? Why are we losing American businesses and American jobs? J.R. Martin has generously made his book available so that Beth can offer it to you at a discounted price. Nearly 400 pages packed with powerful information and years of research. We have to know the truth in order to turn this mess around. Send $15 to P.O. Box 73, California, Missouri 65018. That's selling U.S. out. $15 to P.O. Box 73, California, Missouri 65018.
Dr. Michael Kaufman isn't holding back, but speaking the truth. Truth is tough, and we have a lot to learn here. Radical Islam is not knocking on our door, but is in the house, and a very real threat to America. What is Islam, and what is the true belief of those? Are they all radicals? Is there a soft side to Islam? Dr. Kaufman's book is a quick study and will reveal much to you, helping all of us understand the threat of Islam to our United States of America and our American way of life. We are/were a Christian nation. Why are our leaders denying this? Is there a plan to take America for the global Islamic State? Yes. Order now. $13.99 includes shipping and handling. P.O. Box 73, California, Mo 65018. Or order online at csctalkradio.com. Oh, one more thing. This book is made in the USA. Order your copy today of Radical Islam in the House. Only $13.99.
And we have returned. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann, and I'm visiting today right at this moment with Senator Schaefer. Got my tongue all twisted up there, Senator. We were talking as we went into that break about the refugees and bringing them in, and I was reminiscing about how they did this. I remember with Vietnam, you know, there were sponsors in certain areas in the United States that brought them in and got the families settled and took care of them and took responsibility for them. And I don't know how many there were. But I know right now we're talking about, you know, they started out with 10,000, now 65,000, and they say 100,000. Well, that's a lot of families to try and be responsible for. And right now, the economy in this nation is pretty bad. And I'm concerned too, like you said, you had a threat in your office because of some of the stands you have taken, that we've become such a nation that we get so angry with one another, whether it's in the state of Missouri or others, that we just think we have to fight back with violent protests, not good protests, but violent protests and threatening one another. But on the other hand, go ahead. I'm going to let you respond to that, and then I have another question.
Well, I mean, I think that's true to a certain extent, but again, it is, I was saying, the level of hatred and the level of effort that Planned Parenthood is taking against me right now, simply because I have asked the question of our taxpayer dollars going to pay for abortion services or aid in the carrying out of abortion services, which is a violation of state law, which is a perfectly valid question. Given the fact that I'm chairman of the Appropriations Committee and we need to know where Missouri taxpayers are going, that somehow I am just being vilified violently, really, at this point, as evidenced by the death threat that I got in the publications in Al Jazeera and MSNBC and some of those other publications, which a lot of those, I think people need to see. They need to see that level, just as you said, of just absolute hatred and the extreme point it's gotten to on some of these issues.
Well, we've seen it in other agendas, not just in Planned Parenthood, but in other agendas. But do you think that I had said this at the get-go whenever this all started? It seems to me that if every one of the clinics and every one of and of course it would have to trickle down or up, whichever way you want to talk about that, just a simple audit of all of them. If you just audit every one of these clinics and then who they're doing business with, you'll know right away where that money's going and what it's going for. And that seems to me to be a very simple way to head this off.
It is, and from the context of Planned Parenthood being a Medicaid provider, as I was talking about earlier, they should be audited, just as other Medicaid auditors or Medicaid providers are audited as well. What percentage Planned Parenthood is audited as a Medicaid provider compared to other providers? I don't know. I think that's a good question to look at. But on the issue of what they're spending their money on, I think that if they get taxpayer money, taxpayers need to know what that money's going towards. And everything that I can see looks like a large part of that money is going towards political purposes to perpetuate their own agenda.
Well, let me add on that, because this committee that Nancy Pelosi has put together to investigate, the majority of them are pro-choice people. But many of them on that have received money, which I think is wrong, from Planned Parenthood for their campaigns. So how can this possibly take place?
Well, that would be bias, and that wouldn't be objective, and any results they come up with probably wouldn't be worth the paper they're written on. But I chair the Sanctity of Life Committee here in Missouri, which was put together to look at what was stated in those videos as far as selling baby body parts for money. And as part of that, that's how we uncovered that the Planned Parenthood in Columbia had been working with the University of Missouri. But another thing we found out, for example, is that there's actually the University of Missouri is conducting a study with Planned Parenthood. The professor at the University of Missouri overseeing the study is on the board of Planned Parenthood. The graduate student who's doing the work on the study works at Planned Parenthood, and somehow this is being put out there as an unbiased academic study, which it clearly is not. There's clearly bias. And I had sent a letter to the university asking whether or not taxpayer dollars were being used for that, because if they are, in my opinion, that would violate state law that says you can't use taxpayer purposes to aid abortion. And that's another one of those issues that Planned Parenthood is just absolutely demonizing me on. But, that's how adamant they are to hang on to those public dollars.
The truth hurts, doesn't it?
Yep.
Well, I think we have, as taxpayers, I don't care which side of the issue you're on, I think an audit it's just something that ought to be done. I think it's within the realms of morality and ethicals. I mean, any other organization, nonprofit organization, they have to make everything public.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We owe that to Missouri taxpayers. And Missouri taxpayers have stated through their laws overwhelmingly they do not want taxpayer dollars going to Planned Parenthood to aid abortion.
Yet we seem to have no choice, do we?
It's a battle. But I'll tell you. I'll tell you one thing, Beth Ann. this is a battle that I am going to stay in, and whether I get death threats or anything else, I'm going to keep going at it, because on the issue, I'm pro-life, and on the issue, I am pro-taxpayer, and we're going to make sure the laws in the state of Missouri are upheld.
Well, I appreciate that, because it's been something that I've been battling. I maybe haven't been on the front like you are, but I battle it every day. I just think it's an atrocity, and not only that. I think abortion in and of itself is a war against women, because they're doing those women an injustice, and they're taking advantage of them. Their women are in a position, not all of them, but the majority of them are in a position they feel desperate. They feel downtrodden. They don't know where to turn. And so they go there, and they only give them the one option.
Well, that's absolutely true, and that's why that study that I just mentioned, that the university is doing in conjunction with Planned Parenthood, it's to study the effect of the 72-hour wait period, which we passed last year, 2 years ago, in the state of Missouri, and it says actually on their form that the purpose is to better help Planned Parenthood deliver services to women seeking an abortion, which, by the way, that would violate state law as well. But on top of that issue, that what they acknowledge in the study is that the 72-hour wait period has been effective, because just as you pointed out, a lot of times they victimize women who feel that they're in a very bad spot and have no alternatives. The one thing about the 72-hour wait period is it allows for women to seek out alternatives to abortion. And so that's one thing that's really changed, and I think it's eaten into Planned Parenthood's business, and they don't like it. Well,
when the ultrasounds came in to be, and they just perfect those on and on every day, they get better and better, and you can actually see that baby. You can see that is alive. Well, I have two things about abortion that I would like to inject here. First of all, it is not a contraceptive. And second of all, it is not health care. So they give that pretense under Planned Parenthood clinics that they're offering contraceptives through abortion and that they're offering health care. Well, it is not. An abortion is not health care. In fact, it is a health risk to the mother. Sure. And, of course, it ends the life of the baby. And so those are two lies that are perpetrated out of Planned Parenthood and those who are abortion advocates.
Sure, absolutely. But, I think that for those that support abortion, it's very hard to have that debate head on, which is why you have to divert into other things like, well, it's health care. It's not really the termination of life. It's a health care issue. And so that's really one of those semantic things that are used to make sure that when people are talking about the issue, they're not talking about the real issue, because Planned Parenthood doesn't want people talking about the real issue, which is termination of life.
And, of course, what happens to the woman after the abortion, not just physically but emotionally. They don't like to talk about that either.
Right, and there obviously most people know who looked at this issue. A lot of studies out there showing psychological aspects afterwards, and a lot of negatives, and really a lot of risks to women in that regard. But again, they don't want to talk about those issues.
Well, we're going into another break. I'm going to let you go. I know you're a busy man. I want to thank you so much for all that you're doing. You hang in there, and if you need somebody to talk to, you just give me a call, and we'll put you back on the air.
I will give you a call. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you, Senator. We're going into a break. It is Free for All Friday. I kind of took up the time, but you're welcome to call at 877-895-5410. That's 877-895-5410, and we will be right back. Gold and silver have been the foundation of wealth for individuals and nations the world over. The history of man is packed with coins, jewelry, and artifacts that have spoken to the intrinsic value esteemed in gold and silver due to their rarity, durability, and usefulness. I'm proud to call Melody Cedarstrom a friend and honored Discount Gold and Silver Trading is a loyal sponsor of CSC Talk Radio, a Christian company founded on the principles of truth and honesty. Melody provides quality products, quality service, and competitive pricing. Let Melody's over 20 years of experience in Gold and Silver Trading be your investment guide. From precious metals purchases to precious metals IRA. Whether you want to buy or sell, Melody and her team at Discount Gold and Silver will assist you and make sure you get the best deals possible. Call Melody and tell her thank you for sponsoring CSC Talk Radio, and then let her know you want her to be your gold and silver dealer. Visit Melody online at dgscoins.com or just give her a call at 1-800-375-4188. That's 1-800-375-4188.
A girl needs accessories. So does a website these days. It's not enough to have just one accessory either. CSC Talk Radio is excited to announce we have an app for that. You can now listen to CSC Talk Radio easily on your smartphones, Android or iPhone. We have an app for that. Share this app-portant news with your friends and family. They can now join in the common sense. Calling all patriots. We have an app for that. Visit csctalkradio.com and download the app. Listen to live streaming or the show's podcast, designed for Triple L. Listening later leisurely. Accessories are necessary. Join CSC Talk Radio on your phone. We've accessorized. Visit csctalkradio.com and download the app. Working with technology to bring America home. We have an app for that. csctalkradio.com. csctalkradio.com.
BioAg, working with nature naturally. CSC Talk Radio is excited to welcome Murray Bast with BioAg as a new Commonsense sponsor in natural agriculture. BioAg consultants and distributors are devoted. They understand working with nature. Since 1982, their mission has been to produce and supply products and services that warrant and support true sustainable agriculture. They've done the research. BioAg is a major supplier of natural products and services for livestock and crop production. Visit bio-ag.com and research for yourself. Tell your local farm and home suppliers to become BioAg distributors. From chelate minerals, vitamins, and more, bioag.com has all the products you need. Work with nature naturally to improve your bottom line as well as improve your products and health. Serving all of North America. Visit bio-ag.com or just give them a call at 1-800-363-5278.
CSC Talk Radio's goal is to bring America home. That includes you and your business. Radio is a powerful way to brand your company and increase your profits. Find out how to join CSC Talk Radio, help educate and activate America, and grow your business at the same time. Looking for new customers? Looking to have your business reaching out from sea to shining sea? Advertise with CSC Talk Radio. Believe in your product? Let Beth Ann be your personal spokesperson to properly brand your product and company. It's simple, easy, and affordable. Grow your business, grow common sense, and together we will bring America home. To be a part of CSC Talk Radio, call 573-796-2166. That's 573-796-2166. Or send email to beth@csctalkradio.com.
Returns. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann. We're in the final segment of today's show. It is Free for All Friday, although I kind of took up the time with Senator Schaefer. I wanted to talk to him a little bit, and he had a moment to give us a call. We have Regina from Pennsylvania. Regina, how are you today?
Great. I just want to first commend and thank for the statesman type quality here we heard from Senator Schaefer. What a blessing. Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. He's doing that extra mile for sure. HR, so are you, Beth. Thank you. HR 4038. This is to escalate the vetting process beyond the USCIS, which stands for United States. C, I'm not sure, but immigration system. And this is what vets these people now. And this is the bill that passed yesterday. We want it passed through the Senate. I do not want these people in here at all. But you can see what's happened to the Republicans. They are being demonized completely just because, and I understand almost 50 Democrats also gotten on this bill.
They did get on. I was kind of curious, Regina, how many of those were actually just up for re-election, and that's why they were jumping on it. Because the American people
That's why we want them
don't
elected, not appointed. So, I don't care. Right? HR 4038, we want it passed in the federal Senate. And,
so we need to give the phone calls because it's already been promised, and McCain is working with, guess who, Harry Reid and Obama to make sure that it doesn't.
Well, McCain needed to go a long time ago.
Yes, he did.
I mean, we know that, but
and if you and I would have had our way, he'd been gone. But he's in Arizona, not Missouri or Pennsylvania.
Yeah, right. And that guy that was just on was like, he's standing, he's standing strong regardless of the opposition because I'm doing the right thing. HR 4038, get it passed in the Senate and give your ideas about what you think about these people coming in at all.
All right. Thank you, Regina. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.
We have Steve from Illinois. Steve, how are you today?
Hey, good morning. I thought I'd give just a quick comment. At the beginning of your show, you were talking about this $100 gun tax.
Yes.
And obviously, if this comes into force, it's going to require a federal form, and information is going into a database.
Of course
so
it
I
is.
think what you're getting is, in fact, a something that can be used as a gun registration because they will know that an American citizen is buying a gun. And
well, you register it when you buy it anyway.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if that's really a registration where the data is kept. With the federal form, they're identifying that a purchase is being made, but I don't know that they actually are logging what you're buying.
It would be interesting. I hope it doesn't pass, obviously.
Yeah.
Going to fight it. But it would be interesting to see what they really do with that tax dollar.
Sure, and then, of course, if they can tax a new gun purchase, it's just a matter of time before they're taxing ammunition.
Oh, and they will. That'll be next. I'm surprised that isn't first, really.
Sure.
But anyway, all right, Steve, I appreciate the call.
Good weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You do the same. Well, there's all kinds of things that I had piled up here to visit with you about. And I'm just going to throw them out there just like the headlines because I really don't have time to delve into any of it. But this is coming from Newsmax, and it's just, I guess they've looked at the polls. I have not looked at the polls. I've been so involved in watching what's going on with what's happened in Paris and what's going on here with the refugee debate. And it's, part of it is just ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. To me, it's just common sense that you're going to have to back up and look at this. And why can't these nations, why can't we come together instead of arguing over this? At least within our own borders here. Why can't we come up with another idea? Isn't there another way to help these refugees? Because there are some of them there that are going to be innocent. But can we really bring that Trojan horse in? So why can't we sit down and really stop and think of another way? Well, because of what happened in Paris and because of all the talk of war and fighting ISIS and what we need to do, the polls have gone, they've changed. Now, Trump is still in the lead. In fact, he's gone farther in the lead. But it hasn't helped Carson. He's kind of fallen back. I think he's still in second place, but he's kind of fallen back. Cruz has doubled. He was at 6 and now he's at 12. And Rubio went up just 1 point. He was at 11 and now he's at 12.5. It hasn't done anything for Jeb Bush. He stays the same regardless. He hasn't changed. So it is the four runners there, which would be Trump, Carson, Cruz, and Rubio. Those seem to be the four front runners now. And I'm just throwing that out there as an observation. I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other. I have another article here that came across. It's claiming that Snowden is the one that gave this information that made this happen in Paris. I don't know exactly what he gave, but he gave some information, and that he is treasonous. And of course, he's still in his temporary asylum there in Russia. There has been a lot come across the news, and I don't know if we'll even get to it next week. But Obamacare is a failure. It is an out-and-out failure. And there's more and more coming out about this all along. The subcontractors, they're dropping out. They're losing it. They can't make a profit. They can't make it happen. And this one says that that Obamacare death is spiraling. It's just not working. And of course, they won't give that up. They won't believe that it's not working. And you know how I have said all along, it could be the best written bill in the world, but it's not the D.C. occupiers' responsibility to take care of your health care. And this has nothing really to do with health care. It doesn't really make it affordable. It doesn't make it better. It's forced insurance. You're going to be fined if you don't get it. So if you couldn't afford insurance, now you're forced to buy it, and if you don't, you're going to be fined. Do you see where it's a control issue and it's not really about you? Not about your health. It's about controlling you, but it's not about your health. I'm concerned about the hate that's going across this nation. I'm concerned about the protests on the campuses. Not that it's okay to hurt feelings. I don't believe it is. I don't believe in being prejudiced. I don't believe in being ugly. But the ugly is coming back. And in their protests and in their demands, many of those are racially led. So how are we going to solve this? To calm the souls of man, as I said from the beginning. They tell us not to hate Muslims, and yet they hate the Christians. For some reason, if you don't believe in killing an unborn child, then you're against women. But what about that little female unborn? We have so many battles going on. Gun control. They want to bring in refugees, and then they want to make sure you can't arm yourself. It has absolutely no common sense in it whatsoever, and certainly no constitutionality. The very thing that the D.C. occupiers and the White House administration are supposed to be doing is taking care of your security in this nation. If you don't feel safe, there's a big problem. And it's time to make those phone calls, 202-224-3121. You make sure your senator, I don't care what his party affiliation is, you make sure that you tell him you do not want refugees brought in. You want another plan. Another plan. It's time for us to make a plan together and bring America home.
Attention Americans with no health insurance. If you did not enroll under Obamacare, the deadline has passed and you could be liable for a tax penalty. There are affordable options available, but you need to act now. Call 800-212-4972. Health Markets Insurance Agency has thousands of options nationwide and can help you get the government subsidies you deserve to help lower the cost of health insurance. Under the law, if you have special qualifying events such as marriage, loss of job, or moving, you may still be entitled to Obamacare coverage. At Health Markets, our service is free, and we do the work to help you find the right coverage at a price that fits your budget. Call 800-212-4972 now. That's 800-212-4972. Health Markets Insurance Agency is the DBA or assumed name of Inspire Insurance Solutions Incorporated, which is licensed as an insurance agency in all 50 states and D.C. Service and product availability may vary. Agents may be compensated based on your enrollment in a health plan. HMIA 000365.
BioAg, working with nature naturally. Murray Bast has been my guest several times here on CSC Talk Radio. You know now he's devoted to helping farmers and ranchers. Murray is my common sense voice for improved agriculture. Farmers and ranchers are vital to any nation. Our food and how it's grown is more than just planting a seed, slopping the hogs, or feeding the cows. There's a science to it, and it takes a special kind of people. Since 1982, their mission has been to produce and supply products and services that warrant and support true sustainable agriculture. BioAg is a major supplier of natural products and services for livestock and crop production. Become a BioAg distributor. BioAg consultants and distributors are devoted. BioAg.com has all the products you need to improve your bottom line as well as improve your products and health. Visit bio-ag.com or call them at 1-800-363-5278. That's 1-800-363-5278.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventors information, call 1-800-351-9820. That's 1-800-351-9820. Again, 1-800-351-9820.
You're listening to Rebooting Liberty Radio Network. Compelling and entertaining talk.
Don't touch that dial.